Hey, in today's video, I'm going to talk about my experience of getting monetized on YouTube and the 3 points that you can also get monetized on YouTube with as little stress as possible, because I wish someone would have told me that beforehand. If we haven't met before, my name's Lindsay DeSwart and I help midlife women to create businesses they absolutely love, full of purpose and meaning and joy. So thanks for being here. Today, I'm just sharing 3 things I wish I'd known beforehand. The first thing, which I didn't realize, is like less than 3% of content creators on YouTube are actually monetized. Because, of course, from what we see, everybody and their dog is monetized. And it's just not that simple. But it also means that's your advantage, because it does mean that you can get monetized if you learn some basic lessons about if you've got the right mindset for getting this done. So let's work on that mindset about what it does take and what it doesn't take and see if that's helpful. Okay, so point number 1, I will keep looking down at my notes, by the way. Point number 1 is you've got to let go of the outcome, which I know goes against every single goal setting agenda ever, but you literally have to let go of the outcome, is what I found. So don't worry about, how am I going to get, I nearly said, how am I going to get euthanized then? How am I going to get monetized? I want more followers. I want more views. There's a part of you that needs to do this from the space of how can I get the best that I could possibly get at the craft of YouTube? Think about it as a craft, an art, and then it becomes a business. But if you're just thinking about it as a business, it kills your creativity, and you've got to have your creativity. And I'll talk a bit more about that in the next point. But you need to come up with your own creativity, because that's the only thing that's going to set you apart from every other person out there who starts YouTube and then actually stops along the way, because many, many people do. And I get comments from people all the time who've said, well, I started, but then I fell off. So that brings me to the point that one of the reasons that I got started on YouTube was because although I was on Instagram a lot every day for about the last year, and if we're not connected on Instagram, I'm the Midlife Freedom Angel over there. But the thing that made me jump into YouTube rather than just doing Instagram was about the longevity of videos, and they stay around longer, they get pushed to people for longer. So the effort that you put in actually lasts longer and you get the return for longer. So although you might need to put in more effort to learn the skills to get on YouTube, build the confidence and keep the consistency, in my book, it's absolutely worth it. While we talk about being monetized on YouTube, since I've been monetized and I looked at my balance today, I have earned the princely sum of £36. But you know what? It's something I was doing anyway. And I know because the videos keep getting represented, that's only going to build over time. Don't expect, once you've made it to monetization, they're like, oh, the YouTube gods are singing. It's not quite the case, but the more you get going with it and the more you grow your expertise and your following and your personality on there, that's then it starts to really add up. And of course, there's other ways to monetize YouTube as well. The ad revenue is just a tiny fraction of it. Okay, what happened for me is it was my 121st video that took off. And up till then, when I just had a bunch of audio files on there because I put my podcast on there and it was getting minimal views. And then when I decided, right, I've got to get into this YouTube thing, then I started recording more videos. And then I set myself this challenge of I'm going to do 30 days straight. Now, between you and me, I didn't do 30 days straight. But what I did do was about 5 days straight and then kind of every other day. But what it made me do is get on board and kind of just get mic'd up and all the rest of it so you can actually start making the videos. And I found editing software and I started learning about how to get better. And that was the key thing. So one of the things that really jumped out, and this is point number 2, you need to do some research. And although you can just get on there and wing it, of course you can, you are going to waste quite a bit of time. So you may as well kind of bypass that and look into what it takes to start being successful. Now, again, this comes down to mindset. So I started watching midlife creators and they're all saying, and a lot of the gurus were saying as well, the sort of the younger people who've been on for years are saying there's a real trend in minimal editing, far more, lifelike, less kind of AI engineered, crazy effects editing. So I just went, you know what, I think I can do that. Because if it was a question of doing all of the editing and fancy thumbnails and bringing AI in, all the rest of it, I went, that's not my style. I can't do that. And if that's what I need to do, I'm not sure that YouTube's a place for me. But right now, because the midlife crowd is such a massive growing demographic on YouTube, I thought, right, let's jump on in. So if you're thinking about it, it's probably a really good time for you to start too. Okay, so whilst I was doing my research, I looked into thumbnails. And then the other thing that I really looked into was, who are the people that I follow and why do I follow them? And who are the people I keep going back to? And what is it about them that makes me keep going back? And every single time a new video comes up, I jump on it because I know that there's going to be really valuable content. But there's a lady, Jadina, Jhadina, who I follow because she is just pure personality and she does channeling from spirit. And her videos are fantastic, but they're all in her car, and they gave me the inspiration to say that's the sort of content that I think I can create. It's not highly edited. She doesn't do thumbnails. They are straightforward videos. And she was one of my greatest inspirations. And she has grown up. She has blown up so fast. So look at the people that you follow and look at their style and what do you like about their style. And then also look at other people and go, what has attracted me to that video or what's repelled me from that video? One of the other lessons I found really helpful was learning about the power of headlines. And there was this really good tip that I got about the power of headlines. And it was, go and look at other people in your niche and go and find videos that have taken off on their page and look at the headline. Don't look at the content, because if you look at the content, you'll start getting into comparisonitis and you might even try copying them. That's not what this is about. But go and look at the headline, go and look at the topic and see what that topic is about. And then make your own version, entirely your own version, but still addressing that topic. So that's what I did. And I kept doing that. And I sort of listed a number of different creators in this space who were sharing information, the sort of information that I could share, but obviously they're doing their version and it had gone really well. So I went, right, I'll do my version. Some did well, some didn't do well. But again, that's all coming down to you've got to create because you're creating. You're not creating just based on the results. And if you do really well, it doesn't mean that you never go back on YouTube. And it also doesn't mean that your next video is going to do really well, because maybe your next one or two might do really well. But after that, you've got more followers, you've got more engagement, but you've got to keep creating. You're only as good kind of as your last video. So that's number 2. And then point number 3 is you've got to stick with what you realistically can stay committed to. For example, that 30-day challenge, after about day 5, I was like, oh my goodness, I cannot do another YouTube video. Why did I ever think of this? Why did I ever start? You know, all that doubt came in. So I went, okay, calm down, take a step back. What can you do? So then I went to every other day. And from every other day, I could stick with that for a while and start producing more content. And then it became once a week, or no, twice a week. So now I've kind of settled on twice a week. And then now I'm starting to play with shorts and I'm starting to play with posts. But if you'd have told me right at the beginning that I needed to do all of those things, I'd have gone into overwhelm and gone, ugh, I can't do this. So that's one of the lessons. You've got to figure out, you've got to like jump in with both feet to kind of experimentation zone. But then you've got to find a rhythm that suits you. And once you've got into that rhythm, then that's when you will start to find, traction almost, and it becomes easier. So just like Instagram, I did Instagram pretty much every day for 2024 going into 2025. And by the end of it, I mean, I could create 3 reels a day and it was easy peasy, but I found that they were just moving through so fast that it didn't really hold a lot of value, which, as I said at the beginning, was one of the reasons I started on YouTube. So as you get more comfortable in your niche and as you get more comfortable in finding your rhythm, then you start to get into a flow. And then one of the other things that I would say, and you're probably going to do this anyway, but any comments you get, I check my comments daily, and any comment that I get and I see, I reply to. Now, if you get a bot or a spam on there, A, it means you're being picked up by the algorithm. Excellent. There's a good side, but I don't believe you've got to keep those comments on there. Your choice. I have been told, what did somebody say? I've had a couple of insults, absolutely. So those I just deleted because I went, actually, I don't even want those on my channel. It's my channel. They don't need to stay. So yeah, the more views you get, I mean, I've had incredible feedback, lovely comments, and so many of my Instagram tribe and fellow creators have said, You've inspired me because your videos, they aren't perfect, they aren't polished, but I love them because they are you being real. And that enabled them to then say, you know what? I can be real too. That much I can do. So if you're even thinking about starting a YouTube channel, I would say do your research, but don't get stuck in research. Just jump in and start doing what you can do, because the first probably 10 videos at least, don't expect anybody to watch them, or send them over and expect your friends to watch them maybe and give them a like just because they're your friends. But don't expect anybody else to see them. And that is actually the joy of getting started. You can make all your mistakes, you can mess up, you can be embarrassed, you can have a hot flush. I've done it many times now on video. And it doesn't matter, because you just move through and then you learn what else to do that's different next time. So I hope that's really helpful. I hope it breaks down the whole monetization thing. It comes gradually. There is some luck involved. I do believe there's a great deal of value in the algorithm gods. The algorithm gods definitely, I did my best and then they showed up. And obviously I'm saying this tongue in cheek, right? But the algorithm gods, they looked down and they saw my video and they sent it off. And that's when everything changed, literally in a matter of weeks. I'd been on there, say, 120 videos I'd done, and my 121st video was the one that took off. So do not be discouraged if you feel like I've been posting for weeks, because it could take months. But then when it happens, things change so fast. I went from, I think, something like 50 subscribers to 1,500 subscribers, literally in a week. So there is no predicting what might happen, but you've got to be kind of solid in yourself and in how you're showing up and what you're prepared to do to commit to YouTube. So it feels like a craft that you're learning. Because my perspective, I mean, yes, of course, looking at it as a business thing, but ultimately, unless you're being 100% you, you're going to burn out. Because I saw that on Instagram from so many really talented, incredible women. They, A, didn't know what they were really talking about because they were trying to do, somebody else's product. B, they weren't really comfortable in themselves, and so they couldn't actually figure out the content that they could just keep showing up over and over and over again about. And also they didn't love what they did. And so they got fed up with, trying to create from a really shallow place. Find what you love, know who you're helping, and then from there, learn the craft and then get on YouTube from there. So I hope that's really helpful. If you are a midlife woman and you are looking to create a business with more meaning and more passion, I've got all sorts of free resources and paid resources, which you will find in the link below. And I'd love to see you comment below if this video is helpful, and I promise that I will reply to you. Okie dokes, thanks for being here. Bye.